When you're facing your final moments, what would you choose for your last meal? While some may choose comfort foods or old favorites, others made last meal requests that were, frankly, bizarre. Today, we dive into the strangest and most unexpected last meal requests ever made by death row inmates. From single olives to feast-sized platters, these final requests reveal a lot about the minds of these criminals in their final hours. Victor Feger, a convicted kidnapper and murderer, made a final request that still baffles people to this day. On March 15, 1963, he asked for a single olive. That's right, a single olive, with the pit still inside. But why? Feger reportedly believed that the olive pit, when buried with his body, would grow into an olive tree, a symbol of peace. A bizarre choice for a man about to be executed, but perhaps it was his way of seeking redemption. In a moment so final where others ask for comfort, Feger asked for a symbol of life, though he wouldn't live to see it grow. Now, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum is Lawrence Russell Brewer. Brewer, convicted of a brutal hate crime in Texas, made a last meal request so outrageous it would later change the rules for last meals in the state forever. He asked for 2 chicken fried steaks with gravy, a triple bacon cheeseburger, a pound of barbecue, 3 fajitas, a meat lover's pizza, a pint of ice cream, and more. But here's the kicker. Brewer didn't eat a single bite. His extravagant request, which went untouched, angered so many people that Texas decided to do away with last meal requests altogether. Since Brewer's execution in 2011, death row inmates in Texas no longer get to choose their last meal, thanks to one man's massive wasted order. Ronnie Lee Gardner took his last meal request to a whole new level, not just asking for food, but for an entire cinematic experience to go with it. Gardner, convicted of a 1984 murder, asked for a last meal of steak, lobster tail, apple pie, and vanilla ice cream, but he also requested to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy while eating. That's nearly 11 hours of film, an entire day of watching his favorite movies while indulging in an extravagant meal. For someone facing the end, Gardner seemed to find solace in both food and fantasy, as if escaping into another world before facing his fate. Gardner's request is one of the longest on record, as he was given the time to finish the entire trilogy before his execution by firing squad in Utah in 2010. John Wayne Gacy, known as the Killer Clown, was one of America's most infamous serial killers. His final meal? Surprisingly, it was simple, yet oddly fitting. Gacy, who once ran a KFC franchise before his arrest, requested fried chicken, French fries, a pound of strawberries, and a Diet Coke. Perhaps in a nod to his former life, Gacy chose the very meal he once served to others as a businessman, long before his dark secrets were revealed. For a man who led a double life, one as a friendly local businessman and the other as a brutal killer, it's fitting that even his last meal seemed like a facade of normalcy hiding something far darker. But not all inmates indulge in extravagant or symbolic meals. Angel Nieves Diaz, convicted of murder, chose to refuse his last meal entirely. When asked if he wanted to request a special last meal, Diaz declined. Instead, he was served the standard prison fare, and he didn't eat any of it. Some speculate that Diaz's refusal was a final act of defiance, choosing to leave the world on his own terms, rejecting any pleasure or indulgence in his final moments. Unlike others who sought comfort or peace in their meals, Diaz left nothing behind. Ricky Ray Rector's last meal has a particularly eerie twist. Convicted of 2 murders in Arkansas, Rector ordered steak, fried chicken, and a slice of pecan pie. He ate his meal, but when he finished, he told the guards to save the pie for later. Rector suffered from severe brain damage after a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and many believed he didn't fully understand what was about to happen. His comment about saving the pie has haunted many who followed the case, a final, heartbreaking detail from a man who may not have fully grasped that there would be no later. In his last moments, Rector's request was simple, but left a lingering sense of tragedy, as if he wasn't fully aware that his time had run out. From simple olives to massive feasts, the last meal request offers a final glimpse into the mind of death row inmates, sometimes revealing a search for peace, sometimes showcasing defiance, and sometimes just a desire for comfort food.